And we are off and running. Okay, so as me and other commentators have alluded to before, intro stage is all about execution. There's no randomness, so let's see how our players do here. Oh, MrCab gets grabbed by the crane there, so he's going to lose a few seconds. Luis looks like he got a perfect intro. A very low 42. So, with the CFO fight, you want to alternate between a full charge shot and a dash shot, and then another full charge. It looks like Luis shot the dash shot there a little too soon, so he had to basically continue the fight as planned, and then at the very end, just get one last charge shot. So as they enter Sponge here, we're going to talk a little bit about the stage a little bit. They will be collecting all the items to get the Shoryuken, which is needed for the 80% route if you decide to go Shoryuken. The RNG for the weather is always the same on the first half of the stage, but once you get past the elevator and begin the second half, there is some randomness to the weather. The best weather pattern on the second half is clear weather, and then sunny for the final pattern. With clear weather, you have no lag, and with the rain, you have to basically dash against the force of the wind physics that the rain produces. And with sunny, you have a little bit of lag if you dash along the ground. As you see, all these dash sprites that occur when X dashes, those add to the sprite count. So when you have the sunny weather, it makes the game lag quite a bit when you have to dash along the ground. So if you have that kind of pattern happen, you want to just try not to stay on the ground that long in a dash. Or at least jump out of your dash, which is a little bit better. So as we get to Sponge, we're going to see what kind of pattern Sponge gives Luis here. So you always want to keep dash shotting Sponge until he gets down to 10 HP. And then you want to see Sponge grab the ceiling. And it doesn't look like Luis is going to get a good Sponge. So he's going to force the Angry Sponge. And then once the Angry Sponge phase is over, Luis can continue to kill Sponge. So that wasn't too bad of a Sponge time, considering he had to force the Angry Sponge. Let's see if Sponge went up for Cab. Maybe he can get Sponge. Now it's very important that Cab takes out at least 2 of these thorns, because when Sponge goes up like that, if 4 of the thorns are deployed, Sponge will instantly drop from the ceiling. And if Sponge is in the angry phase HP level, he will instantly go angry. So optimally, as Sponge goes up, you want him to at least shoot 2 thorns and then use a charge shot to take out those thorns, or at least wait until he spawns a couple more. So Luis is going for the arm capsule here. Got an okay RNG there. The capsule for the arm upgrade will not open until the stage stops shaking. And you'll see that a similar property happen in Crystal Snail, which I will get to later. So you're going to see Luis use the chain here to zip himself across the stage. Using one chain doesn't save that much time, but over the course of the entire run, you'll see it'll save quite a few seconds. Ooh, and it looks like he despawned the mech. So Luis had to use the charged strike chain there to get the heart tank. So Luis is climbing up through the rest of the stage. As you see, this charge chain really pulls X really quickly across the rooms. So coming up to the end of the stage, Luis is going to go for a triple chain here. And he gets it. Yeah, if you time your chains very well, you can go right over the cannon driver without getting hit. And you should see, Luis has to hold the charge up for this Gator fight. And then when the pause occurs between the boss HP meter filling and the fight begins, he has to buffer a chain input. This shoots a chain immediately when the fight begins. And it also keeps his charge going so that when he reaches the pink charge, he can hit Gator with the 5 damage charge chain. But also, you cannot buffer a dash during that small pause. So Luis has to dash on the as close to the first frame as possible when the fight begins, just to catch Gator from submerging. And he got the 1 cycle there. So Luis is on a pretty good pace already, despite the Angry Sponge. So Luis is doing the stag third route, which is what all the top runners use. But when MrCab finally gets to the stage selection screen again, he will be doing the ostrich third route. And there's quite a few differences between the 2 routes. And I'll try to cover those as we go along. But the main idea for the stag third route is that we want to enter the stag stage now and get the speed burner early, which we were going to be using through the rest of the 8 Mavericks. But this also allows us to do Centipede 4th, which means in actual PB attempts, this will get 2 of the most RNG heavy bosses done as soon as possible, so that most of the rest of the run is all about execution. It's not totally about luck until close to the end of the game. You see MrCab is resorting to the Buster here to fight Will Gator, which is not a bad option, because if you hit Gator with the strike chain, it forces him to submerge. So if you're not very well versed on the timing of getting the 1 cycle, it's always good to use the Buster, because it doesn't force Gator to submerge. He will only submerge when his AI makes him. So you're going to see Luis fight Stag by firing his second neon shot into Stag, and he's going to be climbing the wall along with Stag to continue hitting him with dash shots. This is a little bit more optimal than using the overfight, where you just stay on the ground and just wait for Stag to come back down. As you see, he's getting the dash shots on Stag just as soon as his iframes end. But he's not getting any good fireball RNG from Stag, so this is basically the standard Buster duel for him. If Stag is on the ground, he has an opportunity to fire his fireballs, which during so he will reset his iframes. So if Luis were to have gotten that pattern when Stag landed, he would have been able to kill him just a little bit faster. So Cab is getting ready to get on the bike and ostrich. So similar to Stag Third, you just ride the bike into the base and turn the bike around at just the right time and hope you don't crash it. But for the ostrich third route, this requires you to Buster Duel ostrich, which is a little tricky. Oh no, and MrCab crashed the bike, so he's going back to grab another one, and he has to do this in ostrich third. He can't go into the base anyway, because there's actually a backup in Stag Third where if you crash the bike, you can actually go inside the base anyway and sacrifice a life. But you can't do that in ostrich third, so you have to go back and grab the bike in that case. And MrCab took a death there. I guess he turned the bike a little late. Luis gets the chop register kill, no problem. So now that MrCab has the dash boots, he now has access to the neon jump ability, I'm not too certain if he's proficient at the neon jumps. We'll see in the next stage if he does any. Looks like Louise shot one of the fires too soon, so he had to switch to Buster. You want to save 1 unit of speed burner energy for that final hallway. So we're going to see the Buster duel from MrCab on Ostrich. When Ostrich reached the peak of his jump, he's going to reset his iframe. So you want to see MrCab dash shot him before he reaches the peak of his jump, and then as soon as... Here's another problem. When Ostrich jumps, he jumps pretty high, much higher than X can. So in order to take advantage of his jump, you got to be pretty much on the higher ground of the stage. And it's really hard to... Ooh, he's getting a lot of jumps, but he's... There we go. He got it. It looks like Louise is having a bad centipede fight as well. Louise is able to break out of the magnet attractor, luckily. The lower Centipede's HP gets, the harder it is to break out of his tail should he suck you in and grab you. It's really easy at the very start. It only takes like a couple of wiggles on the D-pad to break out. But as Centipede's HP gets lower, his magnetic powers increase greatly. That was probably the worst. Yeah, that's a really bad Centipede. Him teleporting out at about 1140. Wow. So this is a really high 33 pace at the moment. Maybe a mid 33 if he has an insane ending. So we're going to see MrCab use the Charged Sonic Slicer to take out the sub, just like you do in the Stack Thread route. And it looks like MrCab's just going to take the long way, and he's going to try to grab the little lift that leads up to the heart tank, and he got it on second try. That's good. So you see Louise is using the mech over to get to the heart tank there. In order to get the mech over to the heart tank and have the mech come back, you have to time your thrust. You have to space your button presses for the thrust out a little bit, so that you actually have enough thrust to get you to the platform. And then on your way back, you have to lunge off of that ledge, just like you did just to get to the heart tank. And that will carry you fast enough to get back without having to ditch the mech. But you do ditch the mech on the way back because you don't need it anymore. So as Louise gets the helmet upgrade has an additional ability that isn't explained even in the instruction manual. And that is that it actually reduces the weapon energy usage for all of your charged weapons. So when Louise uses the speed burner in Centipede, every use costs 3 energy. But now that he has the helmet upgrade, charged speed burner will only cost 2 energy now. And this only applies to the charged weapons. The uncharged weapons still consume their usual energy. So Louise looks like he's got a good snail fight. Yes, he does. And snail jumped at the end, which is what you want him to do. If he goes back into a shell, it loses about a whole second, because Snail's hitbox doesn't become active until the shell actually attaches to him. So Louise is now entering Ostrich himself. And now we're going to see MrCab tackle the Flame Stack stage. So as you see there, Louise used the speed burner to get through that scorpion. A neat, unique property of the speed burner is that whenever you use the speed burner, you actually gain invincibility for as long as you're in that speed burner animation. And that allows you to pass through the scorpion without taking damage. And to stop the speed burner, Louise pressed the opposite D-pad direction to cancel the burner. so that he doesn't go too far. And he doesn't crash the bike, which is very good. Mr. Cab is getting ready to go do the final climb. A problem, sometimes we have a little problem with this air dash mechanic in X2 when you do this climb. If you press jump first and then dash when you intend to press dash then jump, you'll get these air dashes, and they do cause a problem with your movement. If I had to guess, Mr. Cab's going to just unleash the charge. Yep, he's going to unleash the charge bubble on Stag, and then just stand close to him. So whenever Stag is hit with the bubbles, it automatically forces him to throw the fireballs. But since you have less HP than Stag does, you have to jump out of his fireballs so that he doesn't kill you before you kill him. And Louise gets the double hits on Ostrich. Very easy section for Louise. At top level play, the Crystal Snail and Overdrive Ostrich stages are pretty straightforward. There's no RNG variants. It's all about execution. So most of the top runners should get through those two stages the same every time. So we're going to have Louise enter Crab, and we're going to have Mr. Cab enter Moth. Now, pay attention to the usage of burner for Mr. Cab's side, and then pay attention to Louise's side when he gets to Moth. Now, like I said, the helmet upgrade that Louise has reduces the charge burner energy by 1. So whenever Louise uses the burner, it's going to consume 2 energy instead of 3. Now notice when Mr. Cab uses it, if he uses it at all here, you'll see that it'll deduct 3 energy every time. Now, in the Ostrich Third route, you have to manage your burner usage very, very efficiently because you can't waste any, because the way that the stage is routed out, you use all the burner that you're supposed to, and you have exactly enough to finish off Moth, provided you don't miss any shots. Now, when we get to Louise's side for Moth, you're going to see that he's going to have plenty of energy, and I'll explain why when we get there. Louise had a small problem with Crab, it looks like, but it's no biggie. I mean, Crab is a difficult stage, especially at the end with the final climb. So with Louise, on Louise's side, he wants to place the, there we go. He got one Gameo hit. It looks like he may get the second. Yes, he's got the Gameo Crab. That is the most optimal Crab fight that you can get. Basically, what Louise is doing at the very start, and it is RNG dependent whether you get it, because first, he has to do the bubble attack. And then Louise places the charge wheel above Crab, and then X has to be above Crab also, which will force Crab to jump up into the wheel. So Crab takes 4 damage from that bottom spoke that comes out from the wheel, and then when Crab actually jumps up, he gets hit by a hidden hitbox that the core of the wheel leaves behind. And then after placing a normal wheel, he charges up for a second charge wheel, and he gets the double hit from that. So here, you actually have you have Snail's weapon, so you don't need to do a neon jump in the Moth stage to get to the heart. So as you see, Mr. Cab is fighting Moth here, and as you see, every use of that charge burner is taking away 3 units of energy. And it looks like he wasted a shot, so it looks like he may be... Uh-oh. He has to be careful. Moth deals a lot of damage, even with the armor. Now, as I explain that, Louise got the body armor. So when you complete X's armor, you get an additional bonus to your weapon energy usage, and that is all your weapon usage is reduced by 50%. So now that your normal weapons only use a half of unit of energy instead of 1, and now your charged weapons they did use 3 energy before, but now they're going to use 1.5 units. So you can see Luis has quite a bit of speed burner energy as he goes through the stage. And when he gets to the end to fight Moth, he's going to have way more than MrCab did, if not about average. But the difference is, since Luis has a full armor, he'll have plenty of energy left even after Moth is dead, and you'll see the difference. So MrCab is now doing Centipede in the Ostrich Third Route. You fight Centipede pretty late in this route. Uh-oh, MrCab is having a little trouble trying to grab that block. It's very imperative that you do not destroy that security turret, because if you do, you have to sacrifice a life to have another shot, because there's no way to get up to the heart tank if that turret is destroyed. So Luis gets a 21-14 Moth kill. So that's about 12 seconds behind Trogdor's run from earlier today. So with MrCab, he has this Silk Shot from Moth, and that's actually Chop Register's weakness. So you see there that he tried to swap to it, but he got hit from the sword. So he has to finish him off with Uncharged Silk. Uh-oh, MrCab got it, touched a few of those sensors. So if you touch any of those security lots as you fall there, it makes these blocks fall a lot faster. But all the blocks will disappear once he touches that wall. But he has to watch out for the radar there, that he doesn't get caught by it. So Luis is going through probably the most technical stage in the entire run. Luis would use almost every single weapon in this stage. And right there, just after the halfway point, he did a speed burner there. That's actually a new tech. I'm not sure who found it. I think Akiteru found it. You can actually fit an extra burner right there in that small little section. And then if you jump out of your burner and fire a uncharged burner, the flame tail, or the flames from the tail of that burner, will actually keep traveling, and it will actually kill that red enemy that he spawned just before the second claw. So Luis is all about optimizing every bit of the stage. MrCab is fighting Centipede with the Buster. It's very key that you don't use the Silk Shot on Centipede right away. And that's because once Centipede is hit with the Silk Shot, it will disembark his tail, which means the only attack that Centipede does will be shurikens from then on. But every time Centipede is hit or he takes knockback damage, he instantly teleports. So, since he will always take knockback damage when he throws shurikens, it prolongs the fight if you use his weakness early. So that's why you only saw MrCab use the Buster there. And Luis gets elevator skip. And MrCab is fighting the final Maverick here, the Crystal Snail. So just like Luis, he's going to take the mech across the pit. Uh-oh. Okay, MrCab had to think there for a minute. Oh, he's just going to take the easy death. That's probably faster. At least for him, it's probably faster just to take the death there. Luis is going for a mega hit, and he got it. I didn't see if he got the perfect fight. I was paying attention on Cap's side. So let's see if MrCab can get the crystal skip here. You want to have a charge burner prepared, and you want to release it. He may have, he released it too early. That's a shame. Now he has to fight the mini boss here. Yeah, you have to release the burner a little bit later. That was a little too soon. So the burner, his burner speed expired before he could get into the room. So now MrCab has triggered the second to last crystal, and now he's going to go back for the helmet. I assume Louise will be going top route here. And he does. Let's see how he does. Oh, no. Wow. That's unfortunate. Well, that ruins any chance of a 33 from Louise in this race. Because he already had Angry Sponge, he had a bad Centipede fight, and now he has a death. So that throws 34 out, or 33 out the window. Yeah, that's the risk with top route. There's spikes everywhere, and if you don't execute it just enough, you can take a death. So it looks like MrCab's just trying to bait Snail to come out of his shell just so he can hit him with the magnet, and then he's going to keep dashing into Snail's shell just to keep it away from him. Pretty typical beginner level strat, and there's nothing wrong with beginner level strat, especially if you're just learning the game or you're just trying to get used to playing the game fast. This game is very difficult to run, especially with all the technical mechanics and aspects of the game. So MrCab has finished the 8 Mavericks, and he'll be going into the Counter Hunter stages, and Louise will be starting the Shoryuken Rush. So in the Shoryuken Rush, you can basically fight any of the Mavericks in any order you want. In regards to optimal, you always want to fight Stag before you fight Crab, and you always want to fight Centipede before you fight Snail, just because you have to dash through the first capsule to get to the outer one. So Centipede was about to do Tailspin, but Louise got the Shoryuken, which is good. Doing the Shoryuken in this game is risky at times because it requires you to get up close to some of these bosses to one hit. And unlike the Hadouken and X1, the Shoryuken is not a true one-hit kill. It deals damage based on the number of frames the Shoryuken makes contact with the boss. If a boss is not in I-frames, it deals 16 HP of damage on the first frame of contact, and then in every other frame after, it deals 8 damage. And there are some exceptions to this rule, such as the Stag refight, which only deals 8 damage per frame. And I believe that's the same for Agile as well. I'm not too sure for that. But it seems like when I fight Agile, it always goes down 8 HP per frame, or every other frame. But with the way some of these enemies, with their AI, you can actually bait them to set themselves up for that. You can Shoryuken them with their AI. So if Sponge jumps here and he doesn't, that would have put a Louise in a good position to Shoryuken from below. But that didn't happen. Looks like he got Sponge, no problem. MrCab is just standing there with a charge bubble and just waiting for a Violin to die. So easy fight, probably the easiest fight in the entire game. Here with Ostrich, you're going to see Louise jump over top of him. This stops Ostrich's attempt to run. And when Ostrich puts on the brakes, he goes for a Shoryuken, but it looks like he got a Lemon and then a Shoryuken. If that Lemon didn't come out before that Shoryuken, Ostrich would have died there. But the problem is if a boss is in iframes when you Shoryuken, it only deals 8 damage. So Ostrich was left with a little bit of HP there at the end, so he had to take another Shoryuken to take him out. Moth is down. And it looks like MrCab's just going to wait out the elevators. He's not going to attempt elevator skip. Louise is getting ready to fight Wheelgator, which is probably the most nerve-wracking refight, because you have to hit him with 4 chains before you can attempt to Shoryuken him. Oh, and he missed it. Ouch. What's really weird about the refight room for Wheelgator is that you can't hit both of the weapon swap buttons at the same time to cancel to Buster. So what we all do, we have to hold one of the weapon swap buttons down, and then after we hit Gator with the 4th chain, we hit the other weapon swap button to cancel to Buster. Because you have to press the 2 weapon swap buttons at least 5 frames apart to get the weapon cancel to actually happen. MrCab is playing it pretty safe here on this Sergei's fight. He's just going to stand in one little spot, and he's just going to let the charged slicer do its work. Oh, looks like Louise had a little trouble there with the snail fight. Man. I think that was Louise's last sub-tank, so if anything goes wrong here in this final stage, we could see the gap definitely close, but I mean, it's an overwhelming advantage for Louise at this point in the run. I know Louise is probably not too thrilled with this run, but that probably goes without saying. This is definitely a really run for him. But let's see what happens. I mean, it is possible to finish off these bosses without getting hit. I mean, that's what we all hope for. So the final stage is simply the first half of Magna Centipede, and as you see, right as Louise entered the mini boss room, he Shoryukens into the right position here to start the 0 fight. Let's see if he gets these 2 Shoryukens. He gets the first and he gets the second, easy. So the reason X doesn't walk back to the initial starting position like you do in a casual play is because when you Shoryuken, you're invincible to every effect that the game has. So when the game tries to force X over to the left side of the room, he's in the Shoryuken. So the game on a specific frame commands X to walk, but since X is invincible, he ignores that command. So when X lands, the command to move him is already passed, and that's why he stays there. Wolverine instantly teleports. Oh, wow. Louise tried to Shoryuken him there at the end, but didn't quite get him, and now he has to finish the rest of the fight with the Sonic Slicer. And it's good that Louise dashed over to the left side there when he killed Neo Sigma. Now that X won't have to walk all the way across the room for the virus phase to begin. If Louise gets some good luck, he may get a health refill from an enemy, and he may be able to finish Virus off with the Shoryuken. MrCab gets the Shoryuken. Well done. As you see, he avoided damage. As long as you hug the wall on either side, the beam can't touch you. Unless you're jumping. If you're up in the air, or if you jump up, then you can get hit. And as you see, as you get closer to taking out the virus form, his head slowly turns red. And once he gets into the red phase, he'll start teleporting around and try to entrap X. And at there's GG for Louise with a RaceBot has it clocked in at a 35-16. GG to Louise for his second victory in pool play. And MrCab is now starting the SRK rush. MrCab gets the first Shoryuken on the Cocoon. Oh, he Shuriyu's a little early, maybe. But he does have a sub-tank. There he goes. He gets it. And MrCab has taken a little detour to pick up some extra health to fill up that sub-tank that he just drained. Let's see how Sponge does here for MrCab. And he got the same pattern Louise did. But MrCab waits for Sponge to go up, and it's an easy Shoryuken. And it looks like MrCab's going to go ahead and get more health for that sub-tank. For the record, there are 14 there's 14 HP units in a full sub-tank. And while we're talking about the sub-tank, for every unit that's in the sub-tank, when you use it, you get 1 HP refill on your life energy. However, if the sub-tank is completely full, you get double energy. So a full sub-tank will give you 28 units of energy, should you need it. So he has at least 8 units of energy in that sub-tank. So if he gets 6 more, he's got a full sub-tank. So if for some reason MrCab were to get down to 4 HP, he can use a full sub-tank and he will instantly be back to full HP. So if MrCab gets into a little trouble here in the end game, look to see him use a full sub-tank. Ooh. Oh, wow. Crab was mean. And MrCab's not going to waste a sub-tank on Crab. He's just going to finish him off with the wheels. Now, as you notice that when MrCab did that Shoryuken on Crab, he was invincible, so he doesn't die to the spike ceiling. Like I said before, you're invincible to everything when you're in the Shoryuken. Nice Franker Z from Louise. Yeah, that run was so bad it made Louise's head spin. That's for sure. Figuratively and literally. Now he's got to move. He's got to move it over now. Oh, MrCab got froze by the crystal there. Oh, and it's taking forever for Snail to spin around. And MrCab has Snail down. So yeah, it looks like Cab has 2 full sub-tanks for the final stage here. So hopefully he won't need him. Oh, he's got one more refight, it looks like. Oh, he's got 2 more. I thought he was done. Okay. All the top runners do snail last, and when I saw that he was on snail, I assumed that he did the same, but he's actually... Yep, he's probably got his own order in mind. Uh-oh. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna do it? Yes, he does. He does use the silk shot. So now every time Centipede gets hit, he's gonna be teleporting. And if Centipede teleports, he can teleport up to 4 times around the stage. And he will always appear in the corners of the room. He will never appear in the middle of the stage. And MrCab does burn a sub-tank. He wants a Shoryuken Centipede, and he does. So as MrCab continues the boss rush, Luis is putting in some DKC3, objectively the best DKC game. So while MrCab finishes up his run, Luis is gonna possibly show some DKC action. Oh, MrCab tried to get the Shiryu on Ostrich there, but he got damaged. It looks like Luis is gonna play... he's going into the, what's it called? The Strawberry Milkshake Factory, I think is what it's called. So MrCab is into the final stage here at last. And it looks like he's just going to take out these barrier attackers as he goes along, just playing it safe. Doesn't want to get hit. Wants to make sure that he doesn't touch any of the searchlights. Just going to play it very, very safe. Doesn't want to risk death. Ooh, he got an extra life there. Yeah, he's being... Oh, he got another extra life. What is this? Is this Mega Man 5? See if he gets the Shiryu. Yes, he gets the Shiryu, and that's a really good placement there for the Zero Fight. That might be a Bro Fist. Looks it to me. Good Bro Fist. Oh, no. I think he tried to do the SRK a little too quickly, and he may have gotten a double tap forward dash out of that, and that's why he bonked. So now he's just gonna resort to the weakness for Zero. He's just gonna stand at the distance you see and just time your jump and shoot the burner until Zero reaches the 1 HP. And it looks like MrCab's gonna opt for the Sonic Slicer here. Ooh. Now what's unfortunate there, he fired both of his Sonic Slicers out. And until they disappear from the ceiling there, he can't fire a charged version of that weapon. As you see, he tried to release the charge for a charged slicer, but none came out. So you have to try not to let your blades go astray when you fight Neo Sigma here. Let's see, when Sigma gets to about midway on his health bar, he will break out the energy spark. Or the electric spark from X1. And he takes out Wolverine. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Cab is over on the right side of the room. So before the virus fight even begins, X has to walk all the way back over to the left side. I think I know what's going to happen. Is he going to break out the... Yep, he's going to go for the Shoryuken here. And he one-shots it. GG to Mr. Cab. Finishes with a 45-41 on race spot. And Louise finishes with a 35-16 on race spot. Good call there with the sub-tank from Mr. Cab. Since Sigma virus is moving away from you, there's no risk of getting hit. So when you get the Shoryuken, it will just keep hitting him over and over until he's gone. And with that victory for Louise, that puts him at 2-0 in his pool, which assuredly guarantees that he's going to get a berth into the elimination bracket. So between Maverick, Mr. Cab, and P Hat Homie, I believe that's the pronunciation. It's going to be interesting to see who else comes out of this pool. Remember, the top two from each group advances to the bracket elimination rounds. So even though this is Cab's first race in the pool, he's not out of the tournament just yet. He can possibly win a couple of these, or at least one, which might help him out if he gets a victory and he gets a good tiebreaker. Let's see. I believe that is all of the Mega Man X2 tournament races scheduled for tonight, I believe, but there is quite a few coming up tomorrow. Give me just a moment, and I will bring up the schedule, and we'll see what we have on tap for tomorrow. Looks like we have at least 4 races scheduled for tomorrow. Possibly 5. I might be doing a second race tomorrow myself. Here's what we got in the schedule so far for tomorrow. At 12 o'clock noon Eastern time, we have Mr. Cab, who you just saw racing, and he will be racing against Maverick. At 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it looks like we have 2 races going on simultaneously. The first one between Traffic Talks and Super 2U, and the second race between Tiki77747, the grandfather of Mega Man X speedrunning, against Farron161. And it looks like at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be racing Ikisode in my pool. And I may have a second match scheduled. I'm not sure yet on that. We'll see here in a couple hours if I can get it scheduled. And finally, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tiki will be racing another of his pool matches against Torta Diego. So there's quite a bit of Mega Man X2 racing going on tomorrow. Please follow our current racers if you have not already. Definitely worth following their progress as they play this game. I believe Mr. Cab said that was a race PB, so congrats to him for that. I believe, if I read that correctly. Oh, an actual PB. Congrats to Mr. Cap for the actual PB. So, in a way, that's a victory for him. If you can PB, that's just as good as a victory, even though he didn't win the race, but I believe Mr. Cab won the war. It looks like that is all for today for the Mega Man X2 tournament. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm Just Incredible, your commentator for this race, and thanks everyone for watching, and have a good evening.